Greetings. Welcome to Ghost Chat and Other Paranormal Things. I'm one of your hosts, Electric Elisa.
And I'm your host, Jody. We have Christy with us today from the Oklahoma Paranormal Research and Investigations. Hopefully, I said that right.
You did. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for being here.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you bet. Well, I've got some questions for you today, so hope you're ready.
Yep, let them rip.
For one thing, I'm curious about. I think I know the answer, but our listeners don't. How long has OKPRI been around?
25 years now and growing. So I started it in June of 2000, and we've maintained active investigations ever since.
Wow, that's impressive. Very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I'm actually the oldest team in Oklahoma. And throughout the years, I've seen a lot of little teams come and go, but we have a lot of long-standing members that's been with us for a long time. We have about
Mhm.
5 members in our group. I like to keep it small. It's just easier to manage scheduling. And, if you have a place that you need to go to that's bigger, we
Mhm.
usually work with a couple other teams, to be able to cover the location. But yeah, we learned so much with it, and it's really been a blessing to be able to try to get some of those questions answered, like what happens, life after death, does it really exist?
Mhm.
So I am a firm believer, absolutely 100%.
Wow, that's awesome. I am as well. How many members are on OKPRI?
5 at the moment, and then we have a couple that are kind of part-time, so when we need additional help, we'll call them in, but our core team is 5 at the moment.
Oh, wow. Okay. Tell me about some of the places you've investigated.
Oh, where do I start?
Oh,
Over the years, well, we do like to go to a lot of historical locations. Here in Oklahoma, even though statehood was founded in 1906, there are a lot of places that were, um, created and began in the 1800s. And so
mhm,
we do like a lot of those historical places, but we also will do residential locations just to help some of our clients who are experiencing a haunting and they don't really understand what's going on. They're scared, they may have children. And like the case that we did last night, they had a 10-month-old baby,
oh,
and the closet to the child's room in the nursery actually comes open, and this baby is standing there in the crib looking around, and they see it's kind of a shadow apparition, I guess you could say, of this man that walks in and out of their child's room. So they don't feel safe keeping their baby in there, and so we try to go in and figure out what's going on. I use my gifts because I am a psychic medium, to
mhm,
where I can see what spirits are there, why they're there, what they want, if anything, if I can help them move on, or if I can, help bring some peace, or I'll do that. And so, just a variety of different locations. And we don't stick within just Oklahoma. We go to surrounding states as well. We've been to Kansas, we've been to Texas, just different places. So we kind of go wherever the calling is. Sometimes if we find a cool place that we want to check out, like we recently did several investigations in Atchison, Kansas,
oh, yeah,
and the McIntyre Villa, um, just different places. So we'll just go explore on our own a lot of times as well.
yeah. I've heard of that place, and I've heard of Atchison. All those places there.
Yeah,
Oh
and I
yeah.
actually I remember hearing you had gone to some places like Kansas City that you were.
Yes. I can't think of any in particular at the moment in Kansas City, but we have, yeah, we have
Mhm.
gone several places within Kansas, Texas,
Mhm.
Oklahoma. I don't think we've done any in New Mexico, but we have gone all the way up to Iowa, even, and have done
Mhm.
the Villisca Axe Murder
Yeah,
House.
yeah. We were just
Very,
talking about that.
yes, very active place when we went anyway. Um, Recently we did the Pumpkin Theater in here in Oklahoma in Ponca City. So yeah, we just kind of get around a little bit, and some places you have to pay to get into, and that just helps the facility to be able to keep their doors open and maintain, and we don't mind that.
Sure.
So, the historical places are our favorite, but we also like to reach out and help clients in need as well.
Nice. You were on an episode of Ghost Hunters a few years ago.
Yeah, actually, it's been several years ago, but yeah, I was in their second season,
With
and
Jason?
we,
I don't remember what
yep.
year that. You remember?
Oh, not right offhand. I'd have to go back and look. I'm sure it was probably early 2000s some
That's right.
point,
Yeah.
but it's kind of when their episode, their show was kind of first taking off. So I did the
Mhm.
second season with them, and we did the Stone Lion Inn in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
I was going to ask where you.
And
Okay.
yeah, they actually found a lot of interesting information there as well, collected some good evidence, which we know.
Mm-hmm.
We have investigated there, oh my gosh, numerous times throughout the years. And it's probably one of the more haunted locations, I would say, within Oklahoma
Really?
that I
Wow.
have, yeah, that I've found so far anyway. You
I've heard
can't
of.
pay me enough to stay there overnight. Nope,
See, I'd
won't
be
do
curious
it.
if I had someone to stay with, not by myself.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I have stayed there with other people, but as far
Yeah.
as me being there by myself, nope, nope, nope.
What 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 makes you feel that way about the place?
Because it is very active. And people with gifts, kind of like me, I think, our senses are more heightened. We're more aware of spirits that are around us. And I often refer to people that have gifts. It's kind of like if you were outside at night and it's pitch black and you've got a flashlight or a lantern or whatever that's putting off that light. Well, you are that light, and the stronger that your gifts are, the brighter that light
Yeah.
shines.
Yeah.
And spirits can see that. It's
Yeah.
like moths coming to that light in reference. And so um, I have several gifts, and so I attract them in a sense. And so I've had a lot of experiences there as well. I know that place is very haunted, and I can't sleep comfortably at night because I know that there's something there, and that it would be in the same room with me.
Like an like
So
an evil type of um
no,
presence.
no,
So
there's nothing evil there. So
Okay.
for example, the Holton family, they started construction on it in 1906, and they completed it in 1907. They
Mm-hmm.
had a very large family, several children. They moved into it. Mr. Holton died a few years later, and Mrs. Holton fell on some hard times. So she did try to rent out some of the rooms, but eventually they rented it out to the funeral home. And I can't
Oh.
remember the name of the funeral home right off this, but it
Okay.
was a funeral home for a couple of years. So, like a couple of the spirits that are there that I encountered, one of them, his name is Edward,
Okay.
and he liked cigars in life, and he did die of lung cancer. He was brought into the Stone Lion Inn at the time that it was a funeral parlor, and so he's a very dominant spirit that is there, and he made himself well known to me. So when I was in the basement, I happened to see this man. He was kind of in this gray suit, and he was reading a newspaper. And when he looked up at me and, told me that he had died from lung cancer, and he likes females. So he kind
Okay.
of like just, playfully aggravates females. Like he might touch you or like pull your hair or something. So,
Right.
but he's not malicious in any way. And there's a
Okay.
couple other spirits. One of them is Elizabeth. She was also brought in from the time that it was a funeral home. So no spirits that are bad, just some spirits that are there, and that's where they call home.
Okay.
So, but it's just an active location, and
Yeah.
I can't sleep comfortably.
Yeah.
So,
so
but
Jody, if we stayed there together,
Uh-huh.
something might happen.
That would be something might happen. I
are
hope
you
so.
hoping and wishing, or are you just
I'm hoping.
good luck? I know that the owner recently passed away, so I do believe that the Stone Line Inn went in the care of her two sons.
Okay.
But I don't know if they got it open at the moment, but because it was a bread and breakfast, so you could actually go and stay there. But
Wow.
yeah, if they've got it open as a bed and breakfast now, by all means, go
Yeah,
stay overnight, see what you experience.
that would be awesome. I've always wanted to my dream place to go to would be the Stanley Hotel in
Been there.
yeah, I'd love to stay there for a night or a weekend, not by myself. but with some, some people, a group. That would be fun.
I would actually feel more comfortable at the Stanley than I would at
At the
Stone
Stone
Lion.
Line, really? Wow.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, some of your bigger places, your activity can also be sporadic.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it may only be focused in a certain area, or it could be all over the place. But when you go into a location that is smaller,
Hmm.
you tend to kind of get more up close and personal with whatever spirits that are there.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, and I've been to the Stanley, beautiful place. Didn't have any experiences there, but
Okay.
I can say, hey, I've been.
Yeah, it's a
So
beautiful
not
place from what I can
Oh, it
see.
is. Yeah, and it's got a fantastic history. And I'm not saying that it's not haunted. I'm just saying I didn't have any experiences there when I
Yeah,
went.
it's touch and go sometimes.
Oh yeah, you got to kind of say sometimes you got to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, of course. Have you been on any other TV shows other than Ghost Hunters?
Oh yeah. I've been on A&E. I've been on Animal Planet. I've done local local shows here, news broadcasts, our local OETA. So just here and there. I haven't done any recently, but I don't seek that out either. My team and I, if we're asked to do something, we'll consider it,
Uh huh.
but it's not something that we go after. So I've done book interviews for people as well. So if I feel like the need to do something, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll go and do it. But getting into this, it was never my goal to be rich and famous off the
Right.
paranormal.
I
Right.
think,
Of
yeah, I
course.
think it's hard to be.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't pay.
Mm-mm. No.
So, and we don't charge any of our clients. We don't charge them for a fee. It's just kind of my viewpoint that you can't really guarantee them that you're going to get some sort of evidence recorded. And, this is also a learning thing for us. Like, I feel like we learn every time we go into a place, and that just adds to that knowledge bank, that wisdom
Hmm.
of the paranormal field. So, everything that we do, sometimes we'll do public events to
Hmm.
raise some money just to help maintain our website. And sometimes when we do need like equipment upgrades, but we don't really make money really to keep us afloat. So most of us just have to pitch in
Yeah.
to kind of help those things
Mm-hmm.
maintain. Like right now, we really need a new DVR camera set.
Hmm.
Ours is getting outdated, but technology is expensive.
I
Yeah, it
know.
And
is.
paranormal activity is hard on your equipment. It really is.
It drains it,
So
doesn't it?
it does, and it wears it out.
Yeah.
So I went to go plug in a little point and shoot camera that I've had it for quite a few years, but it's dead. It's time to replace it.
Wow. Already.
So yeah, and it gets expensive. And here, we add a little bit of pieces of equipment here and there
Hmm.
to our stash, and technology changes, so equipment changes, and
Mhm.
it can add up in the long run.
Yeah. Oh, I
So, and
bet.
all of us are just blue collared workers. We're
Yeah.
not rich, and so we just do what we can, and a little bit, like I said, here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
I,
course.
I have a question. So what do you think are the most important um, equipment to have on hand if you're going to be ghost hunting?
Great question. I would say your audio recorder, and
Okay.
that is because, for one, it's a harder source of evidence to disprove, but also because you can be in a location and maybe you have stuff going on, but maybe you don't.
Hmm.
But when you review back your audio, you can pick up voices that were not there. So, like
Right.
the human ear can hear between 200 and 20,000 hertz, but the modern audio recorders now can pick up beyond and like above and below that. So you may not hear something that's there, but your audio recorder can get it. Now, the difference between an EVP, which is electronic voice phenomenon, or AKA voices of the dead, and
Hmm.
a disembodied voice is the disembodied voice. you hear audibly while you're on a location,
Okay.
and the human ear can actually hear that. It's within that range of the 200 to 20,000.
Mhm.
So, but a lot of times EVPs come, below and above that. And so you don't really know until you go back and you listen to your audio
Mhm.
and you're like, okay. So I would probably say, your audio. So a lot of times I train the team to where the minute that you get out of the vehicle on a location, take your audio recorder out, tag the time, and start recording. And that's because you have spirits that are very curious who you are, why you're there. A lot of times they'll jump in on your conversations, and you can take that conversation and compare it to your audio and it's relevant. How
Yeah.
are you going to disprove that? You
Yep.
know? So, for an example, we did an investigation several years back. It was residents in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the homeowners had sent us in some photos. And I also do remote viewing. And I saw this little dark headed girl. She's probably 5, 6 years old, not real old. And so I said, we need to go up there, and do this investigation. So we set a date, drove up to Tulsa, and the homeowners they were going to leave. But while we were bringing in equipment and setting up, of course, I had the auto recorder on and it was in the living room, but they were talking about food, and apparently they were having some sort of party planned afterwards. And the one girl was in the kitchen and she's like, I'm kind of looking for something to eat, basically. And the one's like, well, we have a variety of different foods, but, he's going to bring pizza over when they're done. And she goes, oh, well, then I'll wait. Then you hear this little girl's voice that comes in and she says, oh, I want my din din.
And they're gonna bring back, or Katie's bringing back pizza. Oh, then I'll wait. You buying everybody pizza? I bought it. Oh. Oh, I want my din din. And me, Angela, and Katie put in. We're gonna make guacamole.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
And then and we didn't hear that on location. And this is like a class A EVP. And then they were continuing to talk about food. And then she comes in again and she says, I'll eat it all. I'll eat it all. And I felt really, really bad for the little girl. Once I was listening to the audio, I was like, man, somebody give her a pizza or a
Yeah.
cheeseburger or something. This little girl's obviously hungry. But one of the things that was unique about that is even as loud as she was, and her voice was recorded on her audio, none of us heard it.
Wow.
And, you can hear in the audio clip that nobody acknowledged her either, which is
Yeah.
more crucial to that evidence that
mhm.
this is a legitimate EVP.
Yeah.
So, it's stuff like that, I think, that makes it harder for any skeptic to even disprove. There were no children in the home. We don't do children on investigations. So, to the fact that a child's voice was recorded not only validates, hey, I saw her when I remote viewed into the photos,
Hmm.
but also whenever you know, I got her voice recorded through this audio
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
So,
EVPs are the most fascinating to me, evidence to me. I love hearing EVPs, especially when they're not heard by you when they come
Mhm.
yeah,
later. That is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
You
and
you
wasn't that one that was on one of your episodes?
I'm trying to no, I don't think we put that one on an episode.
There
I know
was
we've
some there was one like that though, that there was a child. You could hear them in the background, but it was pretty loud.
I'm trying to remember which one. There's been well, I know we've picked up other children's voices. I mean, it could have been. I just may not recall it at the moment. Now I
Mhm.
know that we have it on our website. We have it on our podcast. So it could have been something from there as well. But we do oftentimes get children's voices recorded, and that's something that always blows my mind
Mhm.
Mhm.
because children are so innocent. So when they pass, why don't they just immediately cross over?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I do believe that there are cases where they can get confused or they stay because of someone that they know or someone's not allowing them to cross over.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's and spirits are here for different reasons too. They all have their own reasons.
Right.
It could be because maybe, say, for example, at the time of their death, it was very quick and tragic. They don't know that they're dead.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a mother who passed away and her children are mourning her, so she feels like she's needed, so she'll stay. Maybe someone was raised very religiously and fears, I have a little bit of sin in my life, so if I
Yeah.
cross over, then I'm gonna, go to a fiery hell.
Right.
So
Or
they all have their reasons.
the children maybe get lost or something because they're so
Yeah,
young, they're so little, they don't know what to do. So
yeah,
Yeah.
it makes me sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. And if I find a child spirit, I definitely call for angels, call for family members to come get them. I open up the doorway, let
Right.
them, go through. So, but EVPs will also bring out personalities of spirits.
Oh
You can
yeah.
tell if they're a grump, you can tell if, if they're funny or, if they're sad. It just brings out so many different emotions of a spirit as well. So,
Jody, do you
Yes,
remember when we had EVPs on the one of the episodes we were
we
recording?
did. We did. I don't remember which one, or we'd have Christy listen to it. Maybe we can find it.
I oh,
And
it was the one where you guys interviewed me.
oh, okay. Maybe we could send her that link then, unless she's real busy. But
It
maybe
was it
hear
was
something.
so weird.
Yeah, we heard some EVPs as we listened back that we didn't hear while we were recording, and they were very
wow.
odd to us. I don't know if it was just a sound thing, something going wrong, or if there was something to that.
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm
could
not sure.
definitely listen for you and let you know. I might probably have some questions about the environment, what was going on
Mm-hmm.
at the time, but
Sure.
I can definitely give you my professional opinion if you want.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you guys would like a copy of the All I Want My Din Din and
Oh,
the All Eat It All, I
Uh-huh.
can shoot you a copy of that and you can incorporate it into the
Yeah.
podcast here if you'd like.
yeah,
Yeah.
for yeah, that'd be
So, but yeah, that's kind of like I said, the main piece of evidence that I think is so crucial that just can prove so much more.
hmm
Video evidence is great in the fact that, hey, you can see something move. If we have any of our meters going, we can see if a meter's been activated. So, for example, when we were in Ponca City and we were investigating the Poncan Theater, we have like these little cat balls and they light up. And so if they're tapped or if they're moved, they'll activate. We had some sitting in both of the aisles and one of them in particular, we noticed that it activated and the cameras actually caught the activation and something kicked it down the aisle. And
oh
there is nothing around.
yeah.
So
Oh,
that's on
weird.
our Facebook page, that's on our website. You can go
Uh-huh.
there and view it. We have a YouTube channel as well. So yeah, and there's like again nothing around it. And for that to activate and then and it takes a minute. We went back and tried to recreate it. We
Yeah.
were pounding the floor around it, couldn't get the thing to move.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I'd probably say, video is probably important
Yeah.
after EVP. Photographs are important too. It's very rare that you get an apparition. But, with so much technology now and so much fake stuff out there, there can be logical explanations when we look at someone's
Mm-hmm.
photo where you can debunk something. But our whole motto for any piece of recorded evidence that we get is when in doubt, toss it out. If we can't guarantee 100% that it is paranormal, then we'll throw it out,
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Huh.
different forms of evidence.
Yeah. Awesome. You have any upcoming investigations on the horizon?
Well, I do know we have one scheduled in November. We're actually going to be traveling to Mineral Wells, Texas, and
Okay.
we're going to be doing an investigation at Hill House. So I've never been there. I don't really know anything about it. I try to go in blind to any location just because I don't want to know anything
Mm-hmm.
about it. So
Right.
that way, when I go into a place, I'm able to use my gifts to verify what might be at a place, and I'm not tainted, by previous
Right.
knowledge.
Sure.
So we just did two over the past couple of weekends. So I think we're going to take a few weeks off and recoup.
I don't blame.
But
Yeah.
we have requests that come in all the time. I am looking at doing a theater right now in Oklahoma and trying to get a few scheduled. So, I know you never know where we're going to land.
Yeah. You never know. I wish I would have had you come out to a house in Kansas. Elisa was there in Ottawa, Kansas. It was a big old house I lived in that was built in 1906. and it had I think it used to be a barn just by the way it was shaped. It had a basement crawl space that you walk down these really creepy stairs. You had to open up a door on the floor and open that up, and it creaked. Then you go down these stairs, and it wasn't finished down or anything down there. They just had like an old water heater or whatever. It was super creepy. Even the walls were like kind of made of stone,
Yeah,
and
wasn't there
Hmm.
dirt for the floor?
the floor was made of dirt. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a place not to like entertain or anything down there. It was just a place to put the water heater and whatever. But the house was very old, and I oftentimes would hear stuff. And I don't know if Elisa did, but there have been people in our house that had weird feelings there, and it still stands, I think, to this day. But yeah, I wish I would have
Wow.
come out there. But
It
Yeah,
should
I
have
would
had
have
him.
loved to.
Yeah, should
Did
have
you ever
had
do
him.
any research on it to see
I
what
I
its
tried to.
history was, or?
The lady that lived there before me was a waitress at a restaurant in town, and I didn't have a chance to go out and talk to her. I did go to the library to try to do some research, but I just kept getting dead ends. I couldn't really find anything out about it in particular. I tried, but it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to research a house. It's kind of hard for me
It
anyway.
is.
It's,
Well, and see, yeah, I know, I agree with you. You kind of have to have some paid resources. So,
mhm.
Kathy is our historical. Oh, I'm sorry, let me try that again. Kathy is our historical researcher,
Oh, okay.
and she is great, like great at what she does. She
Wow.
can dig out stuff like you would not believe. But
Wow.
she also subscribes to like ancestry.com,
Yeah.
to the newspaper archives. She'll have access to county assessors where you can find a lot of information. If there is a historical society in a town where we go,
Hmm.
we will visit the historical society just to get some more basis information. So, and then she has these online searches that she does. And I'm telling you, when I say she's great, she digs up stuff that you would never imagine her being able
Wow.
to dig it up.
Wow.
And that's something that our group does. So for our clients, we will provide a full report, not only of our experiences and the recorded evidence that we get, but Kathy does a full out historical,
Hmm.
research and report that we include into that. And we give this to our clients along with recorded evidence that we may get
Hmm.
from a location. So, that just kind of leaves the client with, hey, I didn't even know these things about my place, but now
Yeah.
I do. And then just letting them know what we found there. So it's not like we just go to a place, well, we're going to stay here, we'll stay here a few hours and do, some ghost hunting. No,
Uh-huh.
we're really in depth with our research, which is part of our name, Oklahoma Research, you
Yeah.
know, paranormal research and investigations.
Right. Of course, that's important.
Yeah, it is. So I was just kind of curious, if you were able to find anything out.
Yeah.
If you were able to find anything out on it, it could have maybe gave you a little bit more insight into possibly
No.
why you had stuff going on.
The strange thing about that house is that I had an overwhelming feeling of sadness while I was in there. Like um, somebody there was very sad that used to be there, very sad or maybe depressed all the time. And a couple of weird things did happen. I had a cat pass away in that, well, more than one cat passed away in that house. And one of them, this is bizarre now, one of them, I had this ShamWow mop. I don't know if you remember ShamWow, those
Oh, I
commercials.
do. I'm an
And
old fart, so yeah.
came home, I came home from seeing a movie with a friend. That ShamWow mop, one of the um, oh cloths from the mop was wrapped around this cat's neck. How in the heck did a cat get a mop wrapped around its neck? And it had passed away. And also while living in that,
Oh,
I know,
Oh,
also while living in that house, I found out my father had died. So that house really had a lot of sadness in it. There just was
right.
a lot of um, deep feelings. A friend of mine saw, she came over, well, not a friend, my boyfriend's sister came over with her husband and left her husband sleeping in the car while she went inside of our house. And we left the front door open, just had the screen. She heard a man's voice and she thought, oh, that's him. That's my husband. She turned around, there's nobody there. She goes, Jody, I could have sworn I heard a man's voice. I'm not even kidding. I don't know what she told me he said exactly. I think it was hello or let me in or something to that effect. And there was nobody at the door. Just really weird things like that would happen at that house. It's strange.
Right.
I wish I would have had somebody out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, girl, I've known you for years and years and years. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would have brought the team and come up there and
For
check that out for
sure.
you.
That was
So, but
time that I
oh, go
think that
ahead.
was
I'm sorry.
the time that I was gonna go to the Velisca house. I think that was right around that same time, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was
And I
quite a
don't even, yeah, I don't even remember how many years ago that was. I've
I
slept
don't know.
since then.
I think it was
Yeah.
early 2000s or middle 2000s or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and sometimes a place, when it has a lot of, of things that happen that are traumatic, or maybe just the fact of like deaths or whatever, they can actually imprint into a location. It's like an energy stamp, right? Or an energy imprint.
Right.
And it's not that that's an active haunting, but it's residual. So
Okay.
if you have an intelligent haunting, that is where the spirit actually interacts, right? And you can have both at a location. You can have intelligent and you can have residual.
Mhm,
In fact, on one of our podcasts that we recently did, it's Paranormal Activity One or something, we
mhm,
talk about intelligent and residual hauntings.
mhm.
But it could be that you had a combination of both.
Could be.
You had that sadness. But as you were talking about this, I also got this woman, and I got a loss of a child in that location with deep sadness. Did you ever feel a female there at all?
I don't recall feeling a female there. Um, we had a strange occurrence happen after my boyfriend moved out and I lived there alone, where I was sleeping upstairs and I heard a crash. And oh, this is weird. Our ceiling, I guess it was my ceiling, collapsed from the attic. And it exposed the attic. And there seemed to be some strange feelings from friends from the attic, just some odd, they didn't really like to walk where the attic door opened up. Um, and the whole attic floor fell out onto my floor. And so the attic was exposed. So that was kind of a strange thing. But I don't recall. I know there was a female that owned it before I did. So she could have lost somebody. I didn't get a chance to speak with her. But that's
This could have even went way back as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just see this woman and feel a lot of sadness. I see this rocking chair, and I also see like this little wooden crib. And
oh,
so, yeah, and I see like this blanket that I believe would have belonged to a baby. And
yeah.
there's just those two, the woman is connected to these items, and there's just a lot of sadness. So, picking
Yeah.
up through your energy, this is what I am getting from it.
That might have
So,
maybe I picked that up or something because it did seem like from the get go when I lived there was a lot of sadness in that house. Not scary, not malevolent or anything, just a lot of sadness. Like somebody went through something horrible. Uh,
yeah, and that can also affect people. When
yeah.
you live in a location or you visit a location, if there is strong emotion there, whatever, if it's
Mm-hmm.
anger or if it's sadness or whatever, that can affect the living for
Yeah.
sure. Like I often tell people, okay, well, check yourself when you go into, when you're going into a certain room or a certain place. Are those thoughts or emotions yours? And if
Right.
they're
Yeah.
not, then that could very well be from spirit. And some people are empathic in a sense that they
Yeah.
pick up on those things. She's raising her hand. That's
Yeah.
me, Elisa.
Very empathic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
So I'm not only clairvoyant and clairaudient, but I'm also clair empathetic too. So I could tell you some stories,
It's a lot
just
to
where
say.
Same.
I pick up on the spirits. Yes. So I did a case in Tacoma Park. This was early 2000s, and we were investigating. We were doing a sit down in the kitchen, and then I saw this man stick his head out of a door to a bedroom. So I told the team, I'm like, look, we need to go in there and investigate the bedroom. And so we moved our setup in there. And I'm diabetic, so I'm constantly drinking, right, all the
Yeah.
time. And then I'm constantly peeing. So, anyway, but we were setting our chairs up, and I had my chair set up, and I was leaning forward to grab my drink and put it down beside me. And as I did that, I felt this sharp stabbing pain in my right lower side of my back. And I
Wow.
immediately knew that this man was stabbed in the, and this is what caused his death. And so I called it out. I'm like, he was stabbed in the back, right? And so we began to do our investigation, and I saw this bedroom change. Like I knew that it was August of 1977. It went from nighttime to daytime. The windows were open. I saw like a light breeze blowing the curtains in. I saw this man. He was in a pair of cutoff shorts, no shirt. He had sandy blonde hair down to his shoulders. He was getting ready to lay on this bed to take a nap. And all of a sudden, as he got close up to the bed, I saw this knife plunge in the lower right side of his back. And he
Wow.
fell over onto the bed. His arm was dangling off to the side. Blood started, pouring out onto the floor.
Mhm.
Then I saw this beautiful pair of blue, crystal blue eyes. And then all of a sudden, I seen this little boy, a little toddler, only in a diaper, running across the doorway, and the eyes belonged to this toddler. And I seen the toddler come in, walk into the room, and went over to his dad and started shaking his arm, saying, Dad, 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 Dad. He wasn't very old.
Yeah.
And then I saw Mark standing beside his body. And he's passed away by this time, but he's in spirit, but he's reaching out to his son, and he's saying, Daddy's here, son. Daddy's here. Daddy's here.
Oh,
And
wow.
the emotion and the sadness just was so overwhelming that
Right.
I felt from Mark. That's what he was feeling in that moment.
Uh-huh.
That literally I just lost it. I was emotionally distraught. I was bawling. I had to be removed out of the room just because just all the emotion that I was feeling.
Sure.
And I did more research, more investigations. I went to the Nakoma Park Police Department. Mark had told me that he had a girl, a teenage girl. She was young, 17, 18, 19, something like that. I do believe she had a mental health disorder, bipolar, schizophrenia, something.
Mhm.
But she was very infatuated with Mark. She really thought she loved him. She wanted Mark to leave his wife and his son for her. Mark refused to do that. And so she felt like she needed to kill him. And she
Oh,
did.
wow.
And then she ended up committing suicide,
Mm.
her own self. And I did get into communication with Alicia as well. That was her name. I even saw where she buried the knife that she killed him with. So down the road where she lived, there was this big tree, like this big oak tree. She buried it at the base of that tree. And I really wanted to like go to the homeowners and say, "Hey, can I dig underneath your tree, please? I believe there's this knife that killed this guy back in 1977." But yeah, I didn't do that. But I know if I would have went there and did that, I would have found it. But I
Mhm.
talked to the Nakoma Park Police Department back in 77. Nothing was on computer yet. It was all paper archives. But I talked to this officer that had been there for a long time, and he said, yes. He said there was a man that was murdered in that house. He says, I believe it was in 1977. He goes, and we never found out who did it.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, empathetically, that's a very real gift. And, when you feel those spirit emotions like that, they can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so you got to learn how to shield and protect and to be able to set aside your own feelings and emotion from the
Abs-
emotions of the spirits.
Yeah. That's got to be tiring. That would exhaust me.
Oh, girl, it
Mhm.
can be. When I go to investigation or if I'm at a spirit fair reading or doing readings for someone all day, I'm tired. I'm wore out.
I'm
I
sure.
really
Yeah,
am.
I
It's draining.
it is like I don't even do tarot like much anymore because it's so I get so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's draining.
Well, and I used to use tarot. Well, I mean, I was gifted them way back in the beginning when I started using my gifts. And so I read all the meanings of the cards, and I tried to connect with them. And I just really struggled. Like it wasn't a tool for me.
Mhm.
I'm not able to connect. Well, I mean, I can connect with them, but it's just not something I prefer. So I don't use cards when I do my readings. I don't use ruins
Mhm.
or stones or tea leaves or anything like that. I just do a straight, what I consider like an intuitive
Mhm.
reading. I'll sit someone across from me. I'll say a little prayer. I'll tune into their energy, and I just start telling them stuff
Yeah.
that they need, what they need to know. And then if they have questions, I allow those questions to come in and too. And it's just meant to help guide them on
Yeah.
their journey or decisions that they have, that
Yeah,
sort of
I
thing.
think
But
that's um it's it's nicer to be able to do that.
Yeah.
yeah,
That-
well, I couldn't always do that, in the beginning. It's like a muscle, and you practice that. Anything that you do metaphysically, spiritually, I mean, it takes practice, but
Mhm.
I've had the sight and all that since I was a little kid. raised up very religiously, taught that all this stuff was wrong. You just didn't focus on it or you were going to die and go to a fiery hell. And it
Mm.
scared the crap out of me. But I knew that things that I had experienced and seen and heard were not just hogwash.
Yeah.
Hey, there's an Okie term for you.
Hogwash.
So yeah, hogwash. But when I got up into my early 20s, that's when I started to explore it a little bit more. I just felt like I was drawn to that and I needed to know. And that's what kind of became like started my OKPRI journey. And
Mhm.
that's why I founded my group and just, wanted to explore that a little more.
Yeah.
And here I am,
And have
25, 26 years later.
I've used dowsing rods before. I never wasn't really sure about dowsing rods and how effective they were, but I used them before and they were surprisingly effective for me.
Yeah.
Uh, they actually answered some questions. I'm just watching. I'm sitting there perfectly still, not even breathing, watching them move in accordance to my questions. So that's been interesting for me. I've done a little bit of tarot, not a whole lot. I can never remember honestly what all the cards mean. I have to kind of
Right.
study on them before I try
Oh,
to.
I haven't memorized them even after all these years, and I
Yeah,
get different kinds, and
yeah.
you
There are
know,
different decks.
no, that's why there's a book.
That's what we.
Right.
But
Oh,
I have a question. So I
Yeah.
have read that houses sometimes when they sit for a while and they're unoccupied can draw things to them.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. There's some spirits who do not like interaction with the living. They would rather be just left alone. So they can be drawn to places like that, but also older houses also put off more like an energy from them. So for example, if you think about wood, over time, wood starts to decay. It
Mm-hmm.
puts off a type of carbon. What do we use carbon for? We have that in our batteries, right? It's an energy
Okay.
source. And so things like that with an older house can be energy sources. Of course, along as with limestone. Oh, some of your older houses had limestone water sources. So if you have water nearby, we always say paranormal train. So like some of
Mm,
your smaller towns, you have the trains because that's what how they would get their supplies. But trains actually put off the tracks, put off high electromagnetic fields. So yes, to answer your questions, absolutely. Now
okay.
we've also had people who will say newer houses are haunted. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes that can be associated with the land
Yep.
or certain types of energies, things that in the environment, like I just spoke about. But yeah, older houses tend to be a conduit for paranormal.
That would make sense because both of my main experiences with hauntings were when the house I pretty much grew up in, we were the first owners. And
Hmm.
then um, the last one we moved from, it had sat for a while. It had been bought apparently on auction by the realtor that then sold it.
Hmm.
And I know that when we moved to our current house, we realized that we didn't feel such an oppressive air that we felt
Ah,
in the last house. And so this house has been great for us.
yeah.
good, good.
Clear.
Yes.
And there are things called transient spirits. So even if a place has not had something traumatic or had a death in it, etc., people can bring that energy to a home. Or you can also have transient spirits who they may decide to take up residency for whatever reason.
Hmm.
Maybe it's because someone in the home is sensitive and they're putting off that light, like I spoke about
Hmm.
earlier.
Yeah.
Or maybe there is just things within the home, like or the environment that is more of a conduit for them to get that energy. Maybe they like the energy of the people living there. They have all their own reasons.
Hmm.
Some transients will stay for just a few days, other times they're going to take up residency.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it just every location can be different
Right.
depending upon its past, its present. There's just a lot of variables within that.
Yeah.
And but you could bring an object into a home, and that object
Hmm.
have an effect.
Yes. Yes, you are exactly correct. People talk all the time. Went to this antique store and I bought such and such and I brought it in, and since we brought that in, like, things haven't been the same.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
And
I
people
think
can bring attachments too. They
mhm.
can bring attachment spirits with them.
Right.
Yeah. And I know, like, my husband has always liked to find things to bring into the house, like, "Oh, look, there's an estate sale," or, you
Yeah.
know,
Estate
Yeah.
sales.
yeah. Or, but when we first moved in, we actually heard a growl.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. Was it attached to an object that he brought in, you think?
We had not really, we had just moved in, so we hadn't really been doing much of that.
Huh.
Huh. Do you live in an older home? The one that you moved into? Maybe something was
Um,
there before?
I mean, it was the one that sat vacant for a while.
Okay. So maybe you could have had something sitting in there for a bit?
Yeah. It was so weird.
Yeah.
That
Huh.
was unreal because you don't think you're actually ever going to hear that because you figure that's just in the movies.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
that was
Well, and I'll be honest with you, paranormal investigating is not always like how they make it in the movies. Like,
mhm,
so Jody mentioned earlier, with me filming with
mhm,
taps.
right.
So we were on set for 2 days, 2 different days, and it was 12, 14-hour days, right? For a 23-minute episode. And
Right.
they don't always include the times where you're sitting there and nothing's happening,
Hmm.
Right.
which, so they put in all those good things, which makes it look like paranormal activity is happening around
Mhm.
every corner, right? That's
Yeah.
not the way that it is in real life.
Mm-mm.
So, and again, when we go to investigate a location, we're basically having to be in the right spot at the right time and day, to be able to capture something. And maybe we can't get it at that certain time, and we have to go back to be able to capture that. So, it could be hit or miss.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And just because a client says, "Hey, we experienced this," and maybe we didn't while we were there, that doesn't mean that we don't believe the client's claims. It's just, "Hey, you're living there 24/7, and we're just coming in.
Mhm.
We're coming in a time or two. So whether or not we can experience or capture what you is it, it's a 50-50 shot."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of the time, you're not prepared just in your day to day life to capture something when it
Mm.
does happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, right.
When you least expect it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's been times that I've been in my own home and I will have a spirit drop in because, one, either they need help, or two, I know of somebody that they need to get a message to, or whatever their reason is. And, I'm firm with them and I set my boundaries, letting them know you can't stay in my home.
Right.
you know um, I'll help you if I can, but I set boundaries with spirits because this is my life that I'm living. While I don't mind helping you, you know I don't just live, eat, and breathe the paranormal.
Right. Of course.
So I'm a blue
No.
collared worker like everybody else.
Mhm.
I'm a mom, just so, yeah, I have my own life to live.
Right.
Yeah.
Sense. Well, tell us about your podcast. Let's hear about your podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So myself and my member Kathy, the one that I told you that is the historical researcher,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I've been feeling for like a long time like we needed to get this podcast going, and life's been busy. But Kathy and I started this podcast. It's called The Psychic and the Skeptic. And we've got 4 episodes, I believe, released now, and we have new ones that come out every Thursday.
Mhm.
We created us a Facebook page, an Instagram page, but we basically talk all things paranormal. There's different topics on it. So, like, I believe we've already covered like the intelligent and residual hauntings. We've covered spirit photography. We did one called The Beginning, like how we got started. One
Mhm.
is released that's called The Psychic, where we talk about all the different psychic gifts that are out there. We share a lot of our experiences, and it's taken from my viewpoint as the psychic. Of course, I'm 100% believer all the way. I do look for things logically, though. I don't just automatically assume everything's a ghost. And then Kathy is more of an open-minded skeptic. So she's going to look for a lot of that hardcore logical explanation as well. But is open, and she'll tell you in the podcast that, before working with me, she was more of a hardcore skeptic, but seeing and being seeing what I do and working with me, that's made her believe in a lot of things and be
Wow.
more of open to things. So
Yeah.
we just discuss all sort of things. We incorporate in some evidence, like we played some EVPs and tell different type of paranormal stories. So if people are into that sort of thing, check us out, the
Okay.
psychic and the skeptic, and
I already told a
give us
coworker.
feedback. Oh, did you? Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nice.
Hopefully they'll check it out.
Hmm.
No, you're on Instagram, you said?
Yep, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. So yeah, I mean, you can find us on any of your favorite podcast platforms. So
Nice.
we're listed on a bunch of them. We're even on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel where we will host the podcast. And we are going to do something coming up called Paracases, where we're going to include in some like video footage
Hmm.
from some of our investigations. And we already do live stuff on our Facebook page. You can follow along with us as
Okay.
we're doing some things, but we're going to do, the Paracases and just talk about certain cases in particular and show footage and video from those.
Nice. And you can
So
find
yeah,
Oklahoma Paranormal Research Investigations, OKPRI.com. Is that the website?
that's correct.
Okay.
So
they
they like to look at real evidence, photos, EVPs, 25 years worth. Check it out. You'll be
wow,
there for a while just checking everything out that we have.
falling into the rabbit hole.
Yes. All
Nice.
things paranormal. If you're into that, check it out.
We definitely are.
And thank you for being on. This has been very interesting.
Yes.
Oh
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And like and subscribe, everyone, to Ghost Chat and Other Paranormal Things. Oh, and if you have any experiences, you may email us at the spookysisters666@gmail.com.
Yes.
Share your
That
experience.
is spooky.
That's right. We call ourselves the Spooky Sisters, even though we're not
Yeah.
related. We kind of are, because we've been friends forever since teenagers.
Right. Yeah. That's great. And the podcast, we'll also share your podcast
Oh,
Oh,
thank
on
you.
you.
we have quite a few followers on our OKPRI Facebook page as well. And we'll get that out there and share with you guys too. We even
Cool.
created us a Gmail. We're psychicandskeptic@gmail.com.
Oh, cool.
So we got us one too going. So for
Good.
anybody that wants to write into us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you
right.
guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anytime in the
Thank
future,
you.
just holler.
All right.
Okay. Bill, have a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all too. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we will see you all next episode.
Next episode.